a story by Fyodor Dostoevsky, which is called The Christmas Tree and the Wedding.
So, this story was written by Fyodor Dostoevsky in 1848. First question that comes to my head is, what did you think about the whole story? What are your first impressions on the story?
Okay, so it is a brilliant description of all the themes that Dostoevsky, the writer, tried to cover, obviously, and it was done in a very prolific and subtle way. Mm,
Mm-hmm.
I, it was a nice read, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. There are so many translations on the internet, but the one that I read was also a pretty easy read. But it just it wasn't that easy going though. I would say it
Hmm.
is an easy read, but it was too heavy on the subject. If you
Obviously,
but
yes.
as you said, it was very subtle though. I
Hmm.
was a little uncomfortable. I'm sure you were too when you
Yeah.
realize what it's all about. But
So basically, the story begins with the writer, or rather the narrator, talking about a wedding.
mm-hmm,
So he just describes the wedding as superb. That's how it begins, and then he says that it somehow reminded him of the Christmas tree. Now, when we think of Christmas, obviously we would be thinking of happy things, good things. But then there is another level of melancholy and sadness in the story that we could feel, and that is nowhere close to the usual themes around uh, Christmas story. I mean, that is nowhere close to the Christmas stories that we usually would expect.
mm. But the funny thing is that when he talks about the other incident that around the Christmas tree, it's not on Christmas though. It's on New Year's Eve, where
Yes.
there's a children's ball, right? So I wonder if there is a symbolism or of Christmas tree in the entire story. I wonder what it is. There were so many other things that I couldn't even focus on the symbol, but I would definitely mention it if it comes to my head. If there's anything that you think about it, let me know as well.
Yeah, no, it's just that because he doesn't, even if you look at the title, he doesn't just call it a wedding, but he calls it the Christmas tree and the wedding. I,
Mm,
even I can't recall where exactly we came across Christmas tree in, okay, yes. So, even though the incident or all that, uh, related to the kids and the New Year's Eve day, whatever it was. So, so even though Christmas had passed, but there was a Christmas tree,
mm.
the setting. And,
Yeah. So basically, when people, don't remove the Christmas tree, they keep it
hmm,
hanging
hmm,
till the New Year's and they remove
yeah.
it after all the holidays. So maybe that.
Yes, and probably, it happens that sometimes when we witness something, we just remember that incident through an object, maybe.
Hmm.
Something, maybe some kind of a scent or aroma reminds us of an event. So, like that, maybe he has used Christmas tree as a reminder of that event that he witnessed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think this is like the classic example of what Dostoevsky is known about. He loves to write about the clash in the society, the societal, the classes, the class relations in the society, the social norms, which are so absurd and ridiculous at times. He loves to talk about that, but he doesn't do it in a very argumentative way. He does it very subtly. So in this story, it begins off with a character, the author's voice, I think, um, and where he's trying to describe this Christmas ball, sorry, the children's ball, which this person of high status kept it for his children, but then it's a facade for his own business relations to flourish, or
Hmm.
to have his own relations with others of the same status or under. So we see this facade, and where people are very superficial, and they play cards, they talk about nothing related to children, but they talk about their business. And we start by we see this character, whom the author, or this main character, is interested in. He doesn't have a name. He is described as an outsider, and um, he doesn't have a special air to him. He's not a highborn. Doesn't look like a highborn, and so he retreats in the corner, and nobody plays cards with him. Nobody even talks to him, and versus we see the other character, another character in which the protagonist is also interested in, who is called Julian. The full name is Julian Mastakovich. Everything about him is not ordinary. He's of great personage. He is of high status, and he's a very honored guest. So everyone keeps on, talking to him, and he's surrounded by people. Everyone's hovering around him. That's what he says. And so we see the difference right away in the story of how people treat other people according to their status.
So there is a hierarchy we see among the adults, like,
Yeah,
and sadly, the same hierarchy can be seen to be enforced upon the children there, who are obviously very innocent. And
yeah.
that, yeah, and he talks about it here, where he says that their toys, their gifts were very like different. The gifts
Mm-hmm.
given to the children also had a hierarchy. So
Yeah.
there was this boy, a child, who is described as a tiny chap of 10, thin, red
Hmm.
haired, freckled, and how he, because he was the governess's child, he only received a small book of nature stories without illustrations. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And he knows you could tell he already knew his place. So he
yes,
kind of knows that he doesn't, all the toys that he wants to play with, other children's toys, he can't get it ever because he's not one of them. Um,
yeah.
so yeah,
But obviously, because he's a kid, he was fascinated by toys given to other children.
of
And
course.
even though he knows where he belongs, he would like to explore the and play with other toys, but he doesn't have a choice. Still, it says that he took the book of nature stories and circled slowly about the children's toys.
Hmm.
He would have given anything to play with them, but he did not dare to. So, when he says he did not dare to, we know that he knew the reality, he knew his place. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why he did not dare to. And it clearly says you could tell he already knew his place.
Hmm.
But that's very sad somewhere
Yeah.
because it's kind of ruining their innocence. Like, um, those kids who were supposed to learn how to share and be better version of themselves when they grow up would have this new idea of upper class versus lower class.
Hmm.
Yeah, but the way the writer mentions it, it's he kind of makes it sound very obvious that there is nothing shocking or surprising about it. That is how
Yeah.
it happened, that is how it was done.
It's a very matter of fact, in a very
Yes.
matter of fact way. So we see that the protagonist goes to secludes himself in a room, and there's another girl who is the daughter of the most wealthy family, and she also comes to that room. she doesn't necessarily sees the protagonist, but she has a doll and she keeps on playing with it.
Hmm.
And the red haired the boy also comes to the same room and starts they both start playing with the
Yes.
doll. And then we see Julian enter the room, and he does quite a few things.
Hmm. Also, I would like to add here the fact that that red-haired boy, the governess's son, and that girl who belongs to an upper-class family, you know how they were present at the same place and they were kind of friendly to each other. That shows the innocence of the kids.
The
Uh,
kids, yeah. You know what? I noticed that that it's very frustrating. The whole story is very frustrating because you see these kids. Sometimes there's a sentence. I am not sure where. I'm gonna find it in a minute, but where he's like the children kind of are aloof of what's going on with the adults. He says that, and also these kids playing together
hmm.
in the room and being so friendly that they don't want to be parted with each other.
Hmm.
um it shows the courage where the girl also fights back. don't
Hmm.
don't shout at him, don't take him away, don't do that, she fights back. I feel like the children are shown with a lot of rebel and a lot of courage in them, only to be seen as only to be only for their freedom to be taken away in the future, where where the girl is married off
Hmm.
to another, of course, Julian. So her freedom is taken away at the end, or when she becomes an adult, and gets dominated by these norms and societal pressure or whatever. So we see this contrast and conflict, and it's kind of frustrating and cruel.
Yeah, definitely.
I also think that Dostoevsky kind of makes these characters where they are um, observing things from outside,
Hmm.
and they are not in there, but they're observing in what's happening in, and they are stating it in a very direct way, and they are showcasing that, or they are talking about things that's happening without any argument, without any logic from their own side. They're just stating it, and you see this protagonist doing the same thing where he's stating the obvious which is happening, and it sounds, and to us readers, even though it is obvious, it sounds really absurd. And
Hmm.
that's what I like about Dostoevsky's writing. He doesn't ridicule it directly, or he doesn't overdo it. He just states the obvious, and it's absurd to us. And that's how he critiques it, basically. So people say it's Dostoevsky's method of rhetoric in
Hmm.
the entire character. So he does that in the characters itself. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
Like it's subtle but biting. You cannot
yeah,
ignore it.
you will question yourself though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not normal.
Hmm.
Whatever you see that's happening, it's not normal. Although it's normal, but it's not justified or it's not correct. It's absurd.
So it's very unnatural, but he
Yeah,
kind of makes it sound as a matter of fact and very natural, but you know that it's obviously not, and that is what is quite disturbing about it.
yeah, it's uncomfortable. So true. Okay, so at the end, he marries off the 16-year-old bride, who is the young girl that we see, that the protagonist sees in the ball.
Yes, and if you see he wanted to marry all that money that he was going to get. So it wasn't really the girl, obviously. She wanted to
Yeah.
get all that money, which would compound and increase to a bigger amount in future.
Bigger amount.
Yes. So
So it increases from 3,000, I think, 3,000 to 5,000.
yeah, I think so. So
Yeah.
clearly we have themes of objectification, exploitation here, and
Yeah.
hypocrisy is also a theme we can see here. It's like the the New Year's Eve that has been described. It looked very what do you call it? Very maybe from a distance it might look very fascinating, very fun, but inside what is going on is quite different. So there is
Yeah.
a superficiality.
So this was our analysis on the short story, and we also have an audiobook on the short story, which is on our channel. And I hope you all watch it. I hope you all listen to it as well. I hope we both hope you have a great day, and please leave a comment on what you think.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.